2:30 p.m. The House was adjourned due to lack of quorum. I further gave directions that the interrupted business, which was the report of the Committee on Education, Children, Gender Affairs, Culture and Social Services, on the suitability or otherwise of persons nominated as chairperson and members of the County Alcoholic Drinks Control Management Committee and members of the Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Committee will be transacted under the supplementary order paper during the next sitting. That is Wednesday, the 6th November 2024 at 9:30 a.m. Honorable members, I hereby direct that during this sitting, the supplementary order paper shall be transacted after exhausting the business of the main order paper. Further, honorable members, kindly take cognizance that today is the deadline for the approval or otherwise of the say nominees in accordance with the County Assembly's Public Appointment and Approvals Act, that is 2027. I thank you, honorable members. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a statement to be sought by Honorable Stephen Muridi Matimo, County Member from Kara Ward.
Very well, Honorable Stephen Muridi Matimo, MCA and County Member from Kara Ward.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I want to seek a statement on the status of operation of county health facilities. Mr. Speaker, sir, I hereby seek a statement from the Chairperson Committee on Health Services on the above stated subject matter addressing the following concerns. Aware that Article 43(1) of the Constitution guarantees every Kenyan the right to highest attainable standard of health, including reproductive health. The right implies that health facilities, including mortuary services, must operate in ways that uphold public health and sanitary standards. Further, aware that Article 28 and 42 of the Constitution protects the inherent dignity of every individual and the right to a clean and healthy environment, and mortuary services should respect human dignity, including the dignity of the deceased individuals and their family members. Noting that the 4th schedule of the Constitution states that the health services, including county health facilities and pharmacies, ambulance services, promotion of primary health care, funeral parlors, among other services, are devolved function. Consequent that Constitution of the Public Officer Ethics Act 2003 requires public officers in any role to avoid conflict of interest, which include avoiding action where personal interest might improperly influence public duties or misuse of public office for private gain. Further, consequent that public ethics require that public officers must avoid using their position for personal gain, which can include taking advantage of vulnerable clients or engaging in side businesses in the funeral services industry that could exploit their official position. Appreciating that there is an absolute need to ensure the delivery of best primary health care services for the people of the great county of Nyandarua. Concerned that there are allegations of poor delivery of preventive and curative services in Engineer Hospital, and allegation of conflict of interest where a mortuary attendant in Engineer County Hospital mortuary is alleged to be engaging in side businesses in the funeral services industry, that in exploiting their official position, there is negatively impacting on the delivery of service to the people. Arising from their foregoing, I seek that the Chairperson Committee on Health Services does provide the following information: the total number of staff in all the Engineer County Hospital and their respective designation and existing human resource gaps in the said facility, if any; the status of Engineer Hospital indicating the status of operations, including services offered, including the mortuary services and existing operational challenges, if any; the number of members of staff in the Engineer Hospital mortuary; any other information that the committee may deem fit for consideration by this House in this regard; investigate into the allegation of possible misconduct of various public officers in the hospital, including the matter of conflict of interest; provide a comprehensive report on the above matter, which such recommendation that the committee may deem fit for better delivery of services to the residents of Nyandarua County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The statement is duly sought, and I refer the statement to the Committee on Health Services. Chairperson on Committee on Health Services, Honorable Ngeshe, Honorable Hito, Vice Chair. How many days do you need to respond?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think 3 months, because I know we are going on recess up to January, so it will be ready by February.
Thank you, Honorable Hito. Correct me it on a business tracker that within 90 days, the same shall have been responded. Next order.
Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have the Committee on General Oversight.
Honorable members, I have a brief communication to make in regard to this sitting of today, the 6th day of November 2024 at 9:30 a.m. As you may recall, it was communicated by the Leader of the Majority yesterday on 5th November 2024 that the House Business Committee scheduled a sitting of the Committee on General Oversight today at 9:30 a.m. That is pursuant to Standing Orders 36, 48, and 198 of the County Attorney to answer the various questions raised. This sitting, having been properly convened by the House Business Committee for that purpose, I now direct that the House does break into the Committee on General Oversight by the Sergeant at Arms lowering the mace to the lower pedestal. Thank you. I further direct the Sergeant at Arms to usher in the County Attorney into the chambers. Honorable members, welcome to this meeting of the Assembly's Committee on General Oversight. I take this opportunity to, on behalf of the entire Assembly fraternity and myself, accord a warm welcome to the County Attorney. Honorable members, join me in applauding the County Attorney through a signature parliamentary applaud. This sitting is convened pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order and is a matter on question which are a tool of general oversight by all the members of the County Assembly. Honorable members, questions were brought to the attention of the House Business Committee from the Committee on Delegated County Legislation and the Committee on Legal Affairs, Labor, Intergovernmental Relations and Coordination on matters which are within your responsibility as the County Attorney for consideration before the Committee on General Oversight. The same required comprehensive reports and answers to the following questions and concerns. Number 1, whether the Office of the County Attorney has given any written legal opinions or advisories to the Cabinet in relation to bills, policies, or statutory instruments under consideration by the Cabinet, and if any, submit copies of the opinions or advisories. Number 2, why the County Attorney has continually shown contempt to the County Assembly by severely failing to heed to invitation to appear before the Committee on Legal Affairs, Labor, Intergovernmental Relations, and Coordination, and by either failing to submit requested information documentation or fail to submit within the stated deadlines. Number 3, a list of all land litigations concerning the Nyandarua County government, the parties here thereto, their status, advocates assigned to them, and the fee notes on each case. Number 4, a list of all litigations to which the Nyandarua County government or other county entities are parties to, the parties thereto, their status, advocates assigned to them, and the fee notes of each case. And A, on the same, how many disputes have been solved out of court during the financial year 2023-2024? B, how many litigation has the county government won during the financial year 2023-2024? C, how much money in terms of fee notes has the county government party accrued within the financial year, that is 2023-2024. Number 5, a list of all concluded or active out-of-court disputes. The Office of the County Attorney has considered all involved since 2022 to date. Maybe honorable members, I request you to consult in law terms. Number 6, a list of all statutory instruments, bills, and policies that the Office of the County Attorney has considered or is involved drafting since 2022 to date, and those forwarded to the County Assembly for approval. Number 7, has the County Attorney been involved in the publication of statutory instruments, bills, and acts, and if in the affirmative, evidence to support the same? Number 8, what is the total amount of pending bills in the department, the year of actual of the pending bill, the status of the case involving the pending bill, and what measures the Office of the County Attorney has put in place to reduce the pending bill? Honorable members, the County Attorney submitted a document to the Assembly on the answers to the question, and the same has been shared to all the members. We expect to listen to the County Attorney on his oral submission to the questions as earlier scheduled. Honorable members, the County Attorney is to be heard in silence until he has answered the questions as set, and any concerns, comments, or clarification and further questions shall be addressed after he has indicated that he is done with answering the questions raised. Accordingly, therefore, a minute. Honorable members, accordingly, therefore, I now invite the County Attorney to address this committee on the questions raised. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Speaker, I thank you for the opportunity to address the questions raised. It is true that I submitted a document containing the answers to the questions raised, so I will just be grazing over them by way of looking at the summary, so that for each of the questions that were put to me and the answers that I have attempted to give. If there is anything that requires further clarification, honorable members and Mr. Speaker, sir, just like Mr. Speaker has put it, I can address the questions as put, if there'll be any. Just before I start answering the questions, Mr. Speaker, I want to give a small overview of the office that I'm running. And it is an office that has an authorized establishment of 21 staff. That is what I found. But out of the authorized 21 staff, the ones that are in post are 10, thereby giving us a variance of 11. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, even as I proceed to answer the question, the House will realize that much as we are making efforts on recruitment, and which is not completely within my purview, the House will realize that we operate in an overwhelming situation where it is under intense pressure, where even I, as the county attorney, half of the time I do the work of an advocate because I cannot let things go unattended simply because we have an acute shortage of staff. Having given that introduction, Mr. Speaker, I want to go straight to the questions that were put. And the first one was whether the Office of the County Attorney has given any written legal opinions or advisories to the Cabinet in relation to bills, policies, or statutory instruments under consideration by the Cabinet, and if any, submit copies. Mr. Speaker, what I want to say is, when this letter was brought to my attention sometime last week, I have had 3 short days in which to put a response, and also torn between some urgent cases in court which were threatening to the county, but I chose to come to the House to be able to give answers to these questions, and then we shall be able to take care of the cases in another way. Mr. Speaker, sir, I'll not say that the report that I sent to the Assembly was fully comprehensive, and I'll be requesting that if some of the information given here will require further tabulation and more documents, I will be ready. What was guiding me here was the respect that I have for this House, because I have a few points that I want to clear before the House this morning. I saw a point that was saying that the Office of the County Attorney is contemptuous of the House, and I'm happy that I have come before the House because that is one point that I want to settle once and for all, because it is actually not the case, but I'll be getting to that point. So the main point I'm making here is I have made a tremendous effort to put together what I was able to and bring before the House under strenuous circumstances where we were operating as only 2 advocates. We have one who has been away, another one is on maternity leave, and I single-handedly only took the help of 1 staff, being torn between this and all the other things that we were doing. But what I want us to underline is the respect that I have for this House could not allow me to give an excuse that we are dying of work. I had to do something, and then with the agreement of the House, if there is pending information needed, then I could request to be allowed to deal with that. But now I leave that to the determination of the House. Now, on the first question of the bills, yes, we have been involved in various legislative proposals and acts within the last financial year. And I have listed 27 actually. So what happens is from time to time, all the county departments seek our assistance, either with a policy, with a bill, and what we normally do is we attach ourselves to the department on a continuous basis, whereby we sit with them and listen to what they want, and then we are able to give our legal guidance. And then when the document has been done, now we leave it between the department now and the assembly for the department to do their presentation to the assembly after we have given our input. Now, the same thing happens at cabinet level, where the cabinet is doing its deliberations and its discussions, where a question arises where the input of the county attorney is required. I am able to give that information on the floor of the cabinet meeting, and on occasions where it is required to be written, we do that, and the documents are available. The most recent that I can give is one that was relating to the problem that the union had with the executive, whereby I was called upon by the cabinet to give an opinion on whether what the union was calling a strike was actually a legal strike or whether it was a protected strike. I gave our input. The input that we give include even advisories, and being a simple office that does not dwell too much on technicalities, we have allowed the departments even sometimes to call us on phone. We are doing 1, 2, 3. How do we proceed? We do that. We give the input, and where need be, we give it in writing. That the office of the county, really, why have I been of that position? Why did I want to clarify this? Mr. Speaker, for members of this house who are known from the house, now what happens is I write back to the committee. If something has happened and I'm not able to attend a meeting, I have. And that has happened, I think, on only 2 or 3 occasions. There was a time that I was on medical leave. There was a time that I was on medical leave, and I passed on that information to the committee. There was a time when I was bereaved, and I passed on that information to the committee. And then there was a time when something unfortunate happened when I was supposed to do a presentation in Naivasha, and I had actually prepared that presentation, and it is there. Together with my staff, we prepared that. On the day when I was supposed to come to Naivasha, there was a turn of events. And the turn of events was that there was an investor who was in negotiations with the governor and who was supposed to be in Kenya for the next 1 week. Something happened in America, and the investor was called back, and he had to leave on a short notice of 1 day. I was requested to fast-track a document that we were supposed to sign with that investor, and that is how I ended up remaining in Olkalau instead of being in Naivasha on that particular day, where I requested some team members to come and request to be allowed to do the presentation of my document in Naivasha, although they never got audience. Mr. Speaker, I took a diligent step that morning. As I was coming, I called the chair of the committee, that is the legal committee, under the impression that he was the one running the show in Naivasha, and the chairman was able to understand the problem that we had, and he said it was okay. But later on, I learned that the chair was also not able to make it to Naivasha that day. so information did not reach the meeting in time. And having not reached in time, there was that misconception that I refused to come, although actually I do not, I have a lot of respect for the chair. It's only that he did not make it to the meeting to make that clarification that I ran into a predicament and I was not able to attend. So having said that, Mr. Speaker, I'm going into the pain and the length of explaining that point because, you know, personal image is important. And having been created by God as a polite and friendly person, it casts a heavy burden on my head to hear that elsewhere I can be referred to as a contemptuous person, whereas the opposite is actually the case, Mr. Speaker. The answer that has been put against number 2, Mr. Speaker, which is what went onto record, although I have given an extension of that submission, is that I endeavor to attend meetings when called. And I have also explained that there was a time I did not attend when I was unwell, and another time when I was bereaved. On both occasions, I wrote through the clerk explaining the reason for not attending and in advance. I have also said that the attendance at Naivasha was okay. That is a document that is showing case status report as at September 2024. What I have done to kill two birds with one stone because of the pressure of time in this work, I have listed all the cases that are in the county, but among them, the cases that relate to land have been marked with a tick. So on that annexure OCA 2, which runs from page 1 to page 21, Mr. Speaker and members, you will see we have ticked number 1, 2, 3, number 4, 5, 6. As we proceed, you will see all the other markings, number 7, that is number 10, number 13, number 16, number 17, number 20, all the way to the end. Mr. Speaker, those are the cases that relate to land. All those are cases that relate to land, but they have been embedded in this document that has various columns that include case number, plaintiff or petitioner, the defendant or respondent, the relief sought in that claim, the current status, and then a column for legal fees and decree. So, Mr. Speaker, that seeks to answer this question that asks for a list of all land cases. So much as that is embedded in the main document, serves as a subset giving a list of all the land cases, showing the parties, their status. The only thing that is missing from this document, because of the nature of how it has been put together, is the advocates assigned to them and the fee notes, although that will be addressed in a different document, Mr. Speaker. And then when we are talking of advocates, we are talking of a mix of advocates from outside and also advocates from our office, because we handle some of the cases ourselves, and we only go to external advocates when the pressure of work is such that a matter cannot. All litigations to which the Nyandarua County Government and other entities are parties, the parties there too, their status, advocates assigned to them, the fee notes of each. Now, again here, Mr. Speaker, there is annexure OCA 3. And on annexure OCA 3, you'll be able to see a document with 5 columns. The first one being case description, details of work. The second one, advocate on record and name of service provider. The next column, outstanding or pending bill amount as aid. 30th, amount paid, and then outstanding pending bills. So, Mr. Speaker, you can see we have a combined document, and this is one of the documents where I was saying that should the House feel that we need to break down that record further, we can still do that, because yes, we have these records in our office, only that the format in which the letter was asking them is not necessarily in accordance with our own records there. So I was able to pick out what I could, but subject to the directions of the House, should the information be required with a further breakdown, we can still seek time and go down to our records and pick it in the format that may be preferred. Mr. Speaker, there was a question on how many disputes have been resolved out of court during the financial year 2023. The answer is 13 cases. And again, those files are available, and should it require further details, Mr. Speaker, we can be able to avail them. I give this in a summary form. Part B of number 4, Mr. Speaker, is asking how many litigation has the county government won during the financial year 2023-24. Mr. Speaker, the answer is 20 cases. And at this point, Mr. Speaker, allow me a few seconds to blow my own trumpet on this one, because this is something that I did for Nyandarua and for which I feel proud. I did it as a person. Some members of this House were calling me on phone. Mr. Attorney, what is happening in Nyahururu? We hear there are demolitions. We hear Nyandarua land has been taken. We hear, okay, everybody is aware of the agricultural machinery. In Nyahururu, I think the local people refer to it as soil. That land, Mr. Speaker, even if I do nothing else for this county, I will always hold my head high as a person who saved that land from being taken away. And I took a bold step of taking 5 entities to court. The history of that land, Mr. Speaker, was that without consultation, the national government went and invaded that land, disregarding all the factors that had been there, including that there was a running court case, and they wanted to do affordable housing on that land. Being the only piece of land that Nyandarua has in that town of Nyahururu, which was taken away from Nyandarua some time ago, and since there is a mechanism for going to the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, if we did that, that was going to waste time, and by the time we come back, we were going to find the land gone. So what I did, Mr. Speaker, I grabbed the first person that I could lay my eyes on, the County Commissioner, Laikipia, Governor, Laikipia, the Manager, Nyahururu, the CS, the Principal Secretary, the PS for Land Urbanization in Nairobi. So I took all those people to court, Mr. Speaker, under a certificate of urgency, and I was able to explain to court what our predicament was, that much as we are supposed to go through the IGTRT, here we are going to lose land. Mr. Speaker, as we talk now, we were given conservatory orders that told them to keep off that land until the matter is heard and determined. And when they realized that Nyandarua was serious about retaining their land, Mr. Speaker, those people came back to us, hey, we didn't mean to fight that hard, let us do an MOU, let us do a consent. And that is where we are, Mr. Speaker, and I take that credit. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, for taking much time of the House, but I think what was done was a good thing, which every person in Nyandarua should be proud of. Although it is not in my custom to blow my own trumpet, but that one let me be allowed to do. I
very much
saved
in
the land
order.
of Nyandarua. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is item 3 on how much money in terms of fee notes has the county government party accrued within the financial year 2023. Mr. Speaker, I have given an annexure. The annexure is number 3. And there is an additional document which did not come with the bundle, but which has been served on the office of the clerk. And again, that is not the format in which the question was asked, but to help the House even with more information, we did a combined document that shows, number 1, the bills for the current year, and then the pending bills for all the other files, which is a combined document, Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of disclosure, so that we give all the information required to the House. So that document, that annexure is unmarked, but it is also within the bundle. Mr. Speaker, number 5 is asking for a list of all concluded or active out-of-court disputes that the Office of the County Attorney has considered or is involved since 2022 to date. Mr. Speaker, there is annexure OCA1, which again is a document showing case number, plaintiff, petitioner, defendant, respondent, relief sought, current status, and legal fees. Mr. Speaker, through that document, there is information embedded into brackets everywhere. It is showing consent, consent, consent. Now, those are the matters that have been dealt with out of court and settled. And why are we having consents, consents, consents? Mr. Speaker, when I inherited that office, I found a situation where there were many bills, and in the spirit of reducing costs so that money that would otherwise go into litigation can be spent somewhere else for the benefit of the residents of Nyandarua, we have gotten into a habit of talking to the other parties, and where we can be able to settle matters amicably and have them recorded as agreed upon and settled, we always do that. So, Mr. Speaker, on annexure OCA1, the information and where I'm being asked what measures the Office of the County Attorney has put in place to reduce the pending bills. Mr. Speaker, I'll say that we inherited pending bills of about 72 million, and I have always realized the constant danger of having pending bills because, unlike in the other departments, some of the cases that we are handling are cases of departments that have been taken to court for not paying the people who have worked for them. Mr. Speaker, what I want to report to this House, and again we can blow the trumpet a little bit, the Office of the County Attorney has not been sued for even one bill. But Mr. Speaker, I'll say that is not by coincidence. It is because I realized the danger that we have in these pending bills and that we can be taken to court. So I have continuously been reaching out to these people that please continue allowing us more time to work on mechanisms of having your bills cleared instead of having to go to court. Because you see, if a law firm sues the county for a pending bill, either time will be spent in court defending the suit. Most likely we will not want to hire another advocate to go and defend against an advocate's bill that has not been paid. So we have been reaching out to these people to indulge us and allow us more time. And Mr. Speaker, I want to report here this morning that the executive is carrying out an exercise of clearing all these pending bills, and all the bills that were in our office, we have submitted our files to the committee so that once these bills are settled or part of them are settled, we can be able now to use that to negotiate even with other people that we owe, whereby we can tell them, as you can see, we have not been lying to you. Some of the bills have been paid, and so yours will also be in the pipeline, Mr. Speaker. So basically, that is what we have been doing about the pending bills. And the thing that is behind the scenes, which may not be seen by all the people, is that it is because we have been reaching out to these people not to sue us because of those bills that we have been able to contain that bill of 72 million plus, which we inherited and which we are trying very much to contain. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, having a leveled question 8, Mr. Speaker, without repeating myself or going over the question that I have answered, I just want to touch one again in brief, that since it really pains my heart to hear myself as a person being referred to as a contemptuous person, Mr. Speaker, I really want to clear that notion and say that by nature, I am not contemptuous, and members of this House, and probably about 80% of them that we have interacted in person, will bear me witness. And I want to take this early opportunity for any miscommunication or something that may have happened that may make me look like a person who is contemptuous. I am not contemptuous by nature, and the members who have interacted with us will be my witnesses. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, County Attorney. I now invite any concerns. Maybe you can take your seat, Attorney. I now invite any concerns, comments, or clarification and further questions that the committee may have, and that we will respond. Yes, we can start with Honorable Ibra, then I come to you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
And maybe the easiest way to proceed, Attorney, is we take all the questions, you note, then you respond.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I have some clarification I would like to be aired, and this is on concerning the executive, car loans, and mortgage. I know you might be the custodians of this agreement, where we have CCM and chief officers, and they are entitled for car loan and mortgage. First, I would like to know how much they are entitled. Second, how the repayment period. And then we have CCM and chief officers who have already left the service, and probably they have gone with our car loan and mortgage. How do you take as the department to clear that? Thank you.
Member for Wanjohi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to welcome our County Attorney. Honorable County Attorney, I'm one of the members of this assembly that has really been not satisfied at all, and sometimes very embarrassed by your office. And I think this is a matter that I have raised in this assembly. It is there within the Hansard, and the Speaker can bear me witness. And the reason I'm saying this, we have received, most of the time we have received documents for nominations or appointment by the governors. And the Honorable Speaker is forced to return back the document simply because they don't meet the standard. And I can give you cases. There were cases when there were nominations, such that this committee, the assembly has to invite the CCMs to come here and talk about waiver because it has not been gazetted. What happens of the transfer of roles to the municipality? These are issues that the office is supposed to have done, but it comes every now and then the committees, the sectoral committees have to push for things to happen, while the office is supposed to be doing that. The other thing, we have so many policies that this assembly have requested the executive through various departments to bring. And every time they're invited in this assembly or by committee,
I think it would be more.
Of the staff he has, that is his own problem. You don't have even to tell us. That's the third person. But the office maybe need to refurbish
so that you can be able to understand where we are heading as a country.
Thank you. And I'll say I'm excited to hear that question because it has now allowed me to give a clarification that I always wanted to make. When I was very new here, I found a back and forth that nominations papers were coming to the assembly, they are sent back to the executive, they have come again, they are sent. And I remember one member asking me, Bwana Attorney, why are you not advising the governor properly? Wewe, you are not advising the governor. So I had to tell that member the truth. I told him that I was actually not involved in the putting together of those papers. When I found it, and I agree with Mheshimiwa, I agree with him that it was embarrassing. When I found that the same question had done a back and forth 2 times, and being a person who has expertise also in HR matters, I thought this is a simple recruitment matters that only needs to be tied to the law. Why don't I help with this? That is when I took it upon myself and I said I'm doing this thing from scratch, following all the requirements from advertising to composition of the panel, because you know there are some positions that require composition of a selection panel that is made up of members who are of different calibers as per the law. Like the one that was recruiting CS and then a member of the board, the Public Service Commission Board, then the county service board. It requires that in that panel you have a unionist, you have a lawyer, you have an accountant, you have a member from, okay, so all those requirements. So what I did, it was actually not within the mandate of my office to do that recruitment, but I saw these people are struggling too much, let me chip in. And it was at that point, it was because of that effort that we were able now to run it smoothly and it went through successfully. So to answer the concern of Honorable Kongo, those recruitments have not been through our office, but being a person who is able to see what is supposed to be done, I am that person who I said will not just sit back and see something that people are struggling with and I can be able to help. So I helped in that one, Honorable Kongo, after I realized that people were struggling with something that I could be able to assist with. Now, regarding gazettement, it is true that our office helps with gazettement, but most of the time it is when things have been done at the department level and they have requested us to help them with gazettement. When we have been requested to do that, for us it moves very quickly. It happens within the same week. I want to set the record straight. Since gazettement is not a complicated process, when a request has come, we take it up. First of all, we want to see that the document we are gazetting is a document that is done correctly, so we give our input there, and then we help with the gazettement process. With policies, and I'm particularly happy that this question was raised by Honorable Kongo, because there are issues where it is said that we are waiting for input from the office of the county attorney. I thank you very much, Honorable Kongo, for raising that, because, and I think since we are working together as a team, when you find something gone wrong, it is upon the people who have noticed that to correct. Anytime when a document has come for our input, much as we are stretched, I ensure that it does not stay with us for more than 4 days, and that is the correct position on the ground. So, and I think I'll be consulting with Honorable Kongo after this, so that we can make the county better. I would want to know who it is who did not do his part somewhere else, but the easiest excuse was that we have not gotten input from county attorney, because I know when we team up, we shall be addressing something that is helpful to the county. Otherwise, we have standards in our department where something comes and we deal with it. Much as we are stretched and we have a big shortage of staff, that is sometimes why you'll find me leaving the office at 10, because there's some things that I don't want to leave pending. Or when I'm leaving, I have a bag so that I go home, take a cup of tea, and then continue with the work from there, but just to ensure that things have gone correctly. Now, even more interesting is something else that I want to tie to the questions and concerns raised by Honorable Kongo. Procurement files delaying in the office of the county attorney. Mr. Speaker, allow me to say that I am perplexed by that concern. And again, I'll be teaming up with Honorable Kongo so that we dig out and get to know the truth. Now, initially, I had said that I have interacted with about 80% of these members here. And occasionally, a member will call me, or I've been told my file is with you. I've been told my file is stuck in your office. Now, Mr. Speaker, I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but I want to say this. I give those members one standard answer. That since I know these files are tying down people's money, there is one thing which I do as a person.
Yes, Honorable Matimu.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm just perplexed sitting here to hear the county attorney talking of files from members. I don't think there's any member who owns any file. I think the only concern that we have, because we are an oversight body, is concern from the contractors from the ground. So I don't think there's any member who calls the county attorney on a file that belongs to a member. So the county attorney is misleading the members, the assembly, and because we are live, Mr. Speaker, sir, in fact, that thing has really hurt me. Thank you. He should withdraw and apologize to the members.
Yes, maybe a county attorney, anytime the member is addressing, you always resume to your seat, then you come back to the podium. In that spirit, there is no substantiation, there is no any documented evidence that is placed before this house of a member calling you, and therefore, I direct that you withdraw and apologize.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw and apologize.
Thank you. Let's proceed.
Thank you.
The next set of questions. The next set of questions is on variance of staff. Mr. Speaker, I'll say that this has already been addressed through the CS to the County Public Service Commission. And the reason for that is so that we do not live in perpetuity where staff are working in stressed conditions and are not able to work normally like the other departments. So we have made a request and we are following up on staffing. And when our request has been fulfilled, Mr. Speaker, we shall be able to work in a better way whereby we do not have working with staff with burnouts. And I also want to mention, when I said that there was a member of staff in who went for maternity leave, I was just trying to clarify the shortages that I have. It was just for information, not for record, but for people to understand where I'm coming from. Because if a member if a member of staff is away, she is away, and it is a good thing. You know, if food delays in the kitchen, it would be a good thing for people to know why there is a delay. Probably they can be told that one of the chefs has fallen on the floor and broken a hand, and therefore food will delay for 15 minutes, Mr. Speaker. Now, an important question was put here regarding the MOU on the AMS land, and that is one matter that I hold very dear to myself. Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I was able to go to the records down all the way to 1946, where even some of the parents of the people within the county were not born. Now, why I did that is because I wanted to gather every available piece of paper showing I wanted to collect every piece of paper showing that Nyandarua is mentioned somewhere. And Mr. Speaker, when I got that information, that is what I was able to use against Laikipia. Laikipia did not have a single piece of paper showing any claim on that land, and that is what was used to convince the national government to get into an MOU with us. And one of the clauses was that they recognize that land belongs to Nyandarua, and that is why we are consenting that we work together on the affordable housing, which the national government has taken a big interest in. So to answer the question on the MOU, the basis was that this land belongs to Nyandarua, and we wanted to cement that. Much as we don't have a title, we included a line saying that yes, Nyandarua does not have a title to this land, but there has been communication moving towards titling, but that if we are like 4 players laying a claim to this land, Nyandarua is in the best position. And that is why the PS for Housing and Urban Development agreed. Actually, as we talk now, the PS was actually the first one to sign that MOU. It was not even from our end. It was from them, but of course we gave our input and we ensured it was a good document for the county. Now, on staff litigation, it is true that there has been litigation between the county and some staff. When I came in, I found a litigation that had been there running for like 2 or so years. And that also, during our time here, there is a body headed by...
Honourable Speaker, maybe on the issue of the MOU...
Yes, maybe you can assume to your seat, Attorney.
On the issue of the MOU with the Laikipia government, county attorney, you have not yet come clear on how the MOU was, because I believe the Laikipia government has embarked on a housing project before the MOU was done. How do they enter into our land and they don't have the land? And where was the county government? Where was the county attorney before they entered into our land and built the houses? It was the illegal housing project.
Thank you, Honorable Kashomba. Yes, Honorable Ishuke.
Maybe the county attorney needs to clarify on this consent and that MOU. The fact that we are agreed the housing project is being done there on our land. What benefits will we accrue as a county? Because when we say, for example, have the housing program here in Olklaw and in Engineer, the immediate thinking is that our people will have first opportunity in ownership of those houses. So maybe this one that is already done on our land but in another county, what the county attorney can try to come out is, in this consent, in this MOU, what specific advantage do we have as a county by allowing our land to be used by the housing department in a different county?
Thank you, County Attorney. You can proceed and expound.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to first address this question of where was the county attorney when land was being taken. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to clarify that it is not the county attorney who was directly involved in safeguarding the land, but the county attorney answered quickly when the whistle was blown that land is being taken away. And what happened is that the MOU is not even with Laikipia. Laikipia was an unlawful party in that matter, and Laikipia attempted to collude or mislead the national government that land belonged to them, and that is what we were able to arrest quickly when we went to court. The court agreed with us that these people do not have any right on this land, and therefore let them all be kept out until the matter is heard and determined. And the next step that was done is when we were also able to convince the national government that much as we have taken you to court, look here, this land belongs to us because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These people realized that they had been misled by Laikipia, and that is how they agreed to get into an MOU with us. And I now want to tie that to the question that has been raised by Honorable Member Bwana Gishuki, that what is our benefit? Now, one of the clauses in that MOU is that it is the county that will take charge of the selling of those houses when time comes. And there is also another clause that says that we shall be in the committee that will be dealing with that. So much as the MOU is in place, I would want to say that we shall be in charge. Not myself as a person, but the county will come up with a team. Actually, it says that the waziri in charge of land will be in that committee. So our interests are well guarded. Now, for the avoidance of doubt, I would want to share that MOU with the House so that the House can interrogate it further in the spirit of transparency. It is a document that I would want to share with the House so that, because we are doing everything in the interest of the county and there's nothing to hide, so I can share that. But I would also want to add that it is a project that the national...
That 7 acres that belong to the people of engineer, they could have done their own other matters that pertains to community public works. How beneficial is it to them? I would think...
My first question goes to, or is, what are the roles of a county attorney? I would wish to get it clearly from the county attorney. What are, if he really understands his roles. The other one, I've heard the county attorney say that he doesn't have adequate staff. Has he requested for staff in his department? And if he has done that, we'd wish to have some evidence, so that at least next time that he will be here, he will not complain that he doesn't have adequate staff. That's why he's unable to perform his duties. The other one is, there are several issues, and I think Honorable Kongo had mentioned it, but let me just go to an issue that it was really touching on the committee that I belong, on matters alcohol. An advert was done to request for licensing, and at this particular time, there was no committee in place to receive those papers. And when we inquired from the CCM then, he told us that he was advised that by the county attorney that I can go ahead and request for the receiving of the application for licenses, whereas there was no committee to do the receiving. The other one, I've heard the county attorney saying that he's not competitive to this assembly. One of the reasons why he has been invited to come to the assembly today is because of his failure as an individual to appear in person to answer questions once invited by the committee, by the chairperson, and his membership. So, what is his position going forward? The other one is, though he has said, I think that one has been answered on the procurement process. I will not repeat it. The other one is, I've heard the county attorney talking of phone calls. And Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand to be corrected, but him being a lawyer, he knows that a phone call cannot be admissible even in court. You cannot purport to have called someone and say that that is something that you can really stand. So, how does he communicate to various departments and various offices in regards to serious matters? The other one is, are you involved in drafting of agreements and between various suppliers and contractors? And in this regard, my question goes especially to an agreement that has been in public domain between the county of Nyandarua and Alliance Medical Insurance. The other one is payment of staff who have won cases. And there are cases, there are staff who have won cases and they are supposed to be paid. Have you advised on the same to the various departments to have these people paid? The last one is payment of persons involved in accidents where vehicles licenses were expired. What have you done as a person regarding the same? Because we have so many staffs who have been involved in accidents, they've won cases, and they've not been paid. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you, Honorable Machimu. The Honorable Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mine is just to one issue. From the observation of what the county attorney has provided, I can see there is a trend or a tendency whereby we are losing on all matters involving SFT land. A case in point is case 10 in your documentation, which is highlighting Daniel Waithaka and Waithaka Mwangi Kireka, whereby we lost the case. It was an SFT case. And another case is case number 41 involving Philip Mushiri, Jehia, and Francis Diangui. You know, Mr. Speaker, the apparent reason why I'm concerned with this is because the same kind of trade is happening at SFT, whereby we are losing land through that office. When I look at the cases that we have handled, we have lost. I wish to get more. Mostly, I'm concerned with the case of Philip Mushiri Jaya, where I would wish to get more information, because when I look at it, the mention was to happen on 31st October this year. And in this case, already a ruling has been done on the same case. So I'm just concerned, how is it coming for another mention, and yet a ruling was done, and these people who are awarded this land are already facing some, they are supposed to pay the grabber some money. So I needed maybe for him to elaborate mostly on this case, that is Philip Mushiri, and also shed some more light, because it has captured my attention. Daniel Waithaka Mwangi and Waithaka Mwangi Kireka, who maybe might be or might not be. Let him shed some light. What was this land dispute concerning? Where was the land that was disputed? So that we can also understand what is really happening with.
We can have the last one by Honorable DS, then he respond, then I get back to the plenary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question straight goes to the land acquisition by the county government from individuals. My concern is that the county has become very unpopular buyer of land. And when we put land for purchase as a word in our budgets, it is for public utility. And this land, which is available for sale, it is available for sale to everybody. But the bureaucracy and the many things that the land seller has to do before he is paid, or they are paid the first installment, is so tedious, such that the sellers are preferring other buyers. And I'm saying this because we have lost key lands in our wards. And when we budget for land, it's because it is urgent. Sometimes it is for road access for public to important institutions, like to school, road access to hospitals, and land for use for ECDs, early childhood development education. And we lost a land recently because the county could not pay. There are so many steps, and then there is a lady buyer who is coming to buy that land, and we have land that has not been paid since 2022. Actually, since 2020. My question is, what is the office of the county attorney doing to ease the purchase of land, reviewing the land laws in a county such that we are able to acquire this land easily because we need that land. And when we lose it, we may not get such a prime land again. So what is the office doing? And this was a concern when we had one of the concerns we wanted answered in Ivasha, because we are losing land. Recently, Honorable Speaker, we lost a land that was so prime for a ECD project, and it was bought for and if an individual like me wants to buy a plot, and with a simple agreement, legal agreement, I can pay and make use of that land. Why is it not so for the county to do so? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The County Attorney, you can respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll start with the last question, and I'll combine the two questions into one. The gist of the matter is that county has lost land for non-payment, and what is the role of the county attorney in this? Land matters are dealt with mainly by the Department of Land. And what happens is when they have found land to buy and they have dealt with the owner, where the county attorney comes in is when it comes to the drafting of the agreement. And what I normally do, and I think that is one thing that I'll want to follow up on and get to know what could have happened, because in the agreement that I do, I ensure that all the interests of the county have been secured. And that includes us not paying when, for example, completion documents for the land have not been availed. So the contract is done in such a manner, the agreement is done in such a manner that the interests of the county are secured. And what remains is for the owner of the land to
Honorable Milka, Honorable Patience, kindly consult in Lotons.
Yes, what happens is once we have done the agreement, we now then revert to the Department of Lands to liaise with Finance to ensure that all the documents have been availed, and upon which now the payment can be done. So as a resident of Nyandarua and taking up that concern, I would also be interested to know, for example, if we have done a proper agreement, what is it that has not been done by the parties that has made that to go wrong? Because from our end, we seal it in such a manner that it should go properly and all the way to the end. So if agreeable to the House, I'll be consulting the Deputy Speaker for particular details so that we can take it up as something that may not have been done correctly. Because from our end, we seal it completely. Yeah, regarding the question by the majority leader, the question, okay, the Kereka case, I note that it was a 2014 case, and that case was handled in our absence. So what I could do is to go and check again on the record, because I think we came into the tail end of the matter when all the litigation had been done, and probably what was remaining was just the judgment. But all the same, I can check that and furnish the majority leader with details. Now, the other bit, majority referred to a case in Kariamu. Now, that is one case where the county is not a party. Actually, the county had been sued together with Philip Mushiri, and what happened is that there is a group of people in Kariamu, about 53 of them, who came for assistance after they had lost 2 cases in 2 courts. In the first court where they went to deal with the case, they lost it, and the court told them that the land does not belong to them. Dissatisfied with that judgment, they went on appeal in another court, and the second court that dealt with the appeal also told them that the land did not belong to them. Now, not being satisfied with the decision of the appellate court, now they came to the governor for assistance. And that is when now the matter came to our attention, and we said we will help. Now, what happened is there is a problem that we face in the legal profession sometimes when a client is coming to you for assistance but is not disclosing all the truth. Now, unfortunately, that was the case here where the first impression that they gave us was that they were all living in the land, but later on we came to discover that there is only a church and then 2 of them who have constructed. But we told them all the same, we forgive you of that and we shall find a way of helping you. So what we did is they had wanted to do a further appeal, but then we saw that was not going to be helpful to them. Now, right now we are pursuing another angle, still trying to help them. And I'll also, since they are in the area of jurisdiction of the majority leader, I'll be reaching out to him to give him full details of what has happened and what we are doing to those people. So what we are doing is we are utilizing the office of the county attorney to help them, much as we are not interested parties in the matter, but we are also helping them as residents of the county, and who, if we find them in distress, we extend our hand to help. The next set of questions, there was a question on the role of the county attorney. Now, the office of the county attorney is established under the Office of the County Attorney Act, number 14 of 2020, and there is a specific section that spells out the roles of the county attorney, and one of them is being the advisor to the government, and there are various other roles, about 8. So it is something established and embedded in the law, and I can supply that list. Now, regarding the request for legal staff, I am in liaison with the office of the county attorney, and we can share the communication. Sorry, the office of the county secretary. I can share the communication that has been done to the County Public Service Board to show what we require. There are also indents. There are other documents that show, like what I was alluding to when I was starting. I was saying the established number of staff we should be having, the staff that we have currently, and what the variance is. I think I'll also be sharing that so that we are reading from the same page. Now, in line with what I had said when information had been shared from other quarters and has not been verified, I was a bit surprised to hear that we gave a go-ahead to deal with the alcoholic applications even before the due process had been done. I'll say that I'm hearing that for the first time. Our office was not consulted, and most of the time departments will consult us through letters, and we did not receive any communication asking for our input. And if our input had been asked for, we would have given a straight answer that let due process be followed. So in the spirit of getting things done right, and as a resident of the county, I'll be reaching out to Honorable Matimo for further details so that together we can work towards that anomaly that has happened, because I also take it that when a department does not give correct information, something needs to be done. On the question of contempt, I'll say, without belaboring the point, I had started by explaining why some things have happened which may look like contempt, but I clarified that there has not been any contempt at all, and that the situations that are bringing up such situations are being addressed, especially with the staffing issues, and that the way forward, because a question was asked on the way forward, is that we need to work more closely with this committee on legal affairs, because we said apart from the committee asking for information from us, we also have ways that we can benefit from that committee by exchange of information. And we had trimmed that point by saying that if there has been any misgivings or anything that has happened that may look like contempt, that we are apologetic of that, and that since there has never ever been any contempt at all, we shall work more closely with the committee so that we do not have such things. Now, a question was also raised on the agreement with the Kenya Alliance Insurance Company. Now that the first matter is not in court, I can share a bit of what happened. And what happened is that there was an agreement for provision of insurance for 1,801 persons, but there was incitement somewhere, and the staff opted out of the scheme and remained with only 80. So there was an amendment of the original agreement. Now, when it came to payment for that, there was a disagreement on what was payable for the 35 days when the 1,800 people were in the scheme. And that is what led to the court case. And the court case came by way of, we took on the people of Kenya Alliance, we negotiated, we told them we don't agree with what they are proposing. Finally, it was agreed that we go for mediation, and indeed a mediation was done. When that mediation was done, we were supposed to have the mediation agreement registered in court. And that is when now other people started coming in as interested parties. And we opposed the application for inclusion. And the matter was considered by court. And finally, a ruling came out, I think, on the 17th of October, whereby the parties who were applying to be enjoined as interested parties were told by court that things don't work like that. So their application and their request to be enjoined was dismissed by court, and the same court proceeded, I think on 27th of October, the court proceeded to adopt the mediation agreement. So those are the facts of the matter as it was. Now, the matter that I'll not comment on very much is that the same parties went and recollected and now moved away from the Nyandarua High Court and came to the Nyandarua High Court, bringing back the same case. The matter is coming up today and we will be dealing with it. And that one, now I cannot comment much on because if I do so, I'll be sub judice, whereby people are not allowed to comment on matters pending before court. There was a question on what happens with people who get involved in accidents. Now, what normally happens is the Office of the County Attorney acts as a facilitator. Now, there is an insurance scheme whereby different vehicles are they are insured by different insurers. So what happens is when all the documentation has been brought to the Office of the County Attorney, we notify the insurance and provide the documents, and then the payments are made by the insurance. So our role is just to notify the insurance, provide them with the documents that they need, and from time to time we receive checks, payment checks from the insurance, and which we forward to the relevant people or relevant departments. Recently, occasionally there are cases where the insurance are not doing their bit, and now that we are all residents of this county, I can share some information that regards the county. Recently, there is a driver who was arrested, and it brought a lot of issues. The background is that the driver caused an accident. The insurance company, of course, was supposed to pay, and they did not. And what did the litigant do? He went now to the driver himself, and the court agreed that the driver pays. The driver did not have the money to pay, and he was committed to civil jail until payment is made. Now that is what brought the big maneno that was out there. So, as the person that I described myself as initially, who will not watch things go the wrong way, and there's something that we can do, we looked for money through other means, and money was paid to the advocate, and the driver was released. The driver was not released immediately, but we pleaded for time to look for money through an agreement where we would be looking for that money. But that was not even the important bit. The important bit is that because of the pain and suffering that was caused by the insurer who could not pay or fulfill his obligation to pay, we have sued them for two things. Number one, for damages, and also to be wound up. For what reason? Because they are not meeting their legal obligations and making payments when they fall due. So that is the bit that I can contribute. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Attorney. Yes, Honorable Muhindi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to ask one question to the Anthony. Your legal opinion on the employment of partisan staff to serve as revenue officers. Were you consulted by the finance department? And what was your opinion? And also on the director finance acting as the chief officer.
Can I respond on that, Attorney?
I thank you, Honorable Mwende, for that question. I think this will be the shortest answer among the ones that I've given. The answer is no.
Thank you. Honorable members, join me in appreciating the County Attorney for his inaugural appearance before this Committee on General Oversight. The County Assembly hopes that your office shall address the concerns raised here for the better service delivery to the people of Nyandarua. Once again, I reiterate the County Assembly's unwavering commitment to availability in supporting the entire county government in service delivery and development for the people of Nyandarua. Thank you, County Attorney, for honoring the invitation to appear before this House, and we wish you the very best in your position. I now direct Sergeant at Arms to usher the County Attorney of the chambers. I now direct that the Sergeant at Arms restore the mace at the upper pedestal for further proceedings of the Assembly. Honorable members, the House resume its sitting. On the matter that we have just concluded, I want a brief invitation to the Chair of the Committee on Legal Affairs, Labor, Intergovernmental Relations, and Coordination to inform the House whether the concerns of the committee have been addressed. Yes, Honorable Kasana.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir. The issues has been addressed, but not conclusively. On the issue of invitation and contempt, they should be followed by other actions. Because what we have been told is merely by word of mouth, but in the real issue, he has not fulfilled his commitment on responding the statements which we usually send to him or ask him. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kasana. Having heard your concern, we shall give further directions in regard to that. Honorable members, following my earlier directions and earlier communication that we shall be having, Clerk, do you have any next order on that?
The business of under the main order paper have been exhausted.
Honorable members, having concluded business on the main order paper and as earlier directed, we proceed with the supplementary order paper. Order number 1.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
No communication.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, we have a motion to be moved by Honorable Peter Gathongo Famau, Chairperson, Committee on Education, Children, Gender Affairs, Culture and Social Services.
Very well, Honorable Peter Gathongo Famau, Chairperson, Committee on Education, Children, Gender Affairs, Culture and Social Services.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, sir, yesterday, as we were coming to the tail end of our report, we lacked quorum. And Honorable Speaker, very fast we go to the conclusion of the report on Committee of Education. And the recommendation herein, Mr. Speaker, is that the committee, having vetted the nominees pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 200 and guided by the relevant rules and matters necessary for consideration, recommendations that this House, 1, approves the following nominees for appointment as the chairperson of the County Management Committee. A, Honorable Kamau Virikwa Kamau. 2, approves the following nominees for the appointment as the members of the County Management Committee. A, Reverend Father Joseph Kemamo Kimani, representing faith-based organization. And B, Mr. Ruben Mushiri Kengori, representing persons living with disabilities. 3, approves the following nominees for appointment as members of the county, sub-county, alcoholic drinks regulations. A, Mr. John Mwangi Kimani as the member representing youth in the Mirabgini Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. B, Ms. Caroline Dutan Demi as a member representing the community in Mirangini Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Control Committee. Honorable Joyce Nyambura as the member representing persons living with disabilities in the Mirangini Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. D, Ms. Esther Wanjiro Kenyanjui as a member representing youth in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Committee. E, Mr. Paul Jogona Nganga as a member representing the community in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. F, Miss Beth Wangui Mwaneke as a member representing the youth in the North Kinangop Sub-County Drink Alcoholic Regulation Committee. G, Mr. Paul Karaya Karano as a member representing persons with disabilities, North Kinangop Sub-County. H, Fresha Wajiko Kamunyo as a member representing youth in Sub-County in South Kinangop Sub-County. And I, Guse Nyambura Mutafai as member in South Kinangop. J, Ibrahim Gige Mungai for South Kinangop Sub-County. F, Faith Wajiko Chege as a member in Daragwa Sub-County. L, Ms. Royce Wajiko Kariuki in Daragwa Sub-County. N, James Mogo Macharia, also or Karau Sub-County. O, Ms. Catherine Wanjiko Mbogwa or Karau Sub-County. P, Mr. Kemani Mutuko or Karau Sub-County. Q, Ms. Florence Wamuri Intari or Jorrock. R, James Gatua Macharia or Jorrock. S, Joyce Nduta Karanja or Jorrock. And Honorable Speaker, we reject the nomination of the following nominees for the appointment as members of the Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee: John Kariuki Mburu as a member representing Kipipiri, and Ms. Irene Waithera Kimemia for North Kinangop Sub-County. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I call the seconder, who is the Vice Chair of the committee, Honorable Manga Patience. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I second.
Thank you. I now propose the question as put by the chair, and I invite members for any debate. Honorable members, I now put the question on the motion as moved by the chairperson, and I put the question on each nominee. Number A, that pursuant to Section 4(3)(a) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, this House does approve the nomination for the appointment of Mr. Thirikwa Kamau Thirikwa as a chairperson of the County Alcoholic Drinks Regulations and the Management Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. B, that pursuant to Section 4(3)(j) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Reverend Father Joseph Kimamo Kimani as a member of the County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation and Management Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. C, that pursuant to Section 4(3)(j) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Ruben Mushiri Kingori as a member of the County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation and Management Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Maybe, Honorable Juliana, you can take your seat. It's quite long. D, that pursuant to Section 6(3)(e) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, 1, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. John Mwangi Kimani as the member representing youth in Mirangine Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Number 2, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Caroline Dutandemi as a member representing the community in the Mirangine Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Number 3, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Honorable Joyce Nyambura Nganga as a member representing persons living with disabilities in the Mirangine Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 4, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Esther Wanjiru Kenyanjui as a member representing the youth in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Number 5, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Paul Njoguna Nganga as a member representing the community in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 6, this House does approve nomination for appointment of Ms. Beth Wangui Moneki as a member representing the youth in the North Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, you can sit down. It's quite wrong. Waheto and Honorable Milka. Number 7, this House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Paul Karaya Karanu as a member representing persons living with disabilities in the North Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee representative. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. We proceed number 8. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Miss Felicia Wanjiko Kamunyo as a member representing the youth in the South Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 9. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Ruse Nyambura Mutabai as member representing the community in the South Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 10. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Ibrahim Ngoge Mungai as a member representing persons living with disabilities in the South Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 11. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Faith Wanjiko Chege as the member representing youth in the Nyandarua Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Number 12. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Lois Wanjiko Kariuki as the member representing the community in the Nyandarua Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 13. This House does approve the nomination. Honorable Gitau, can take your seat. Number 13. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Simon Wanjeru Murage as the member representing persons living with disability in the Nyandarua Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 14. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. James Mugo Masharia as member representing youth in the Olkarau Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 15. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Catherine Wanjiko Mbogwa as the member representing youth in Olkarau Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 16. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. Paul Kemani Mutuko as the member representing persons living with disability in the Olkarau Sub-County Alcoholic Drink Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Number 17. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Florence Wamuyo Lintari as the member representing youth in the Oljororok Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 18. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Mr. James Gatua Masharia as the member representing community in the Oljororok Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Then number 19. This House does approve the nomination for appointment of Ms. Joyce Nduta Karanja as the member representing persons living with disability in the Oljororok Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. E. That pursuant to Section 6(3)(e) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, this House does disapprove the nomination for appointment of Mr. John Kariuki Mburu as the member representing persons living with disability in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. I repeat, I put that question again. That pursuant to Section 6(3)(e) of the Nyandarua County Alcoholic Drinks Control Act 2024, this House does disapprove the nomination for appointment of Mr. John Kariuki Mburu as the member representing persons living with disability in the Kipipiri Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Number 2, this House does disapprove the nomination for appointment of Ms. Irene Waithera Kimemia as the member representing the community in the North Kinangop Sub-County Alcoholic Drinks Regulation Committee. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we've exhausted the business in both the main order paper and supplementary order paper as scheduled in the morning sitting.
There being no other business to transact under this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Wednesday, the 6th day of November 2024 at 2:30 p.m.